Mr. Speaker, I rise in support of this bill. It is laudable that efforts have been made to establish a consistent system of governance across public bodies in Singapore, as well as to enable a whole-of-government approach to make policy planning and service delivery more efficient via this bill. Under the bill, the Minister may give sector agencies directives to share information under the control of the sector agency with another sector agency to improve, whether directly or indirectly, the efficiency or effectiveness of policies, program management, or service planning and delivery by public sector agencies, whether by carrying out data analytics work or otherwise. This is a step in the right direction, especially as we develop Singapore into a data-centric smart nation. Corporations are leveraging big data insights to improve their processes and bottom lines and spark innovation. The public sector can also tap on data to identify valuable insights which can be used to develop and enhance initiatives for public good. As we recognize data as a valuable strategic asset, we have to ensure that data is not subject to abuse. The data residing in public sector agencies are personal data of our fellow Singaporeans. Data security must be a priority. I have a few questions arising from these concerns. First, could the Minister share some examples of data sharing projects which are envisioned in the promulgation of this bill? Which sector agencies are involved in these data sharing projects? What are the objectives of these projects and the types of data that are being shared? I really hope provision of data and information can be one-stop so that we do not need to provide the same piece of information or document to many different government agencies. Second, under the bill, data sharing includes the sharing of information or re-identification of anonymized information under the control of the sector agency. Under what circumstances would a re-identification of anonymized information be required? Third, are there guidelines in place to ensure that the collection, transfer, and handling of data is secure, bearing in mind the public sector is exempted from the provisions of the Personal Data Protection Act? For example, data could be categorized by different levels of sensitivity, and different guidelines on collecting, transferring, and handling of data would apply to different categories. Also, what safeguards are in place to ensure these guidelines are complied with? As we embark on developing data-centric digital solutions to enhance service delivery by sector agencies, I would also like to ask the Minister if there's a framework in place to evaluate the costs, benefits, and risks of data sharing projects envisioned under this bill. What audit processes are in place to ensure that any automated processing of information and algorithms are soundly evaluated to minimize bias and error? Are there any guidelines for sector agencies to comply with in the implementation of initiatives which require people to engage in a new way with new digital channels? Take, for example, the recent Centrelink debacle in Australia. Centrelink is an Australian government organization responsible for administering welfare services. Centrelink had launched an automated debt recovery system which used data supplied by organizations such as the Australian Tax Office to match information which recipients gave to Centrelink. The automated system promised to be more accurate than the manual matching process and would improve the capability for the identification and recovery of debt owed to taxpayers while avoiding mistakes that would adversely affect a recipient's payments. While the system resulted in thousands of debt recovery notices, in a significant portion of cases, there was no debt or the amount had been overestimated, and thousands of clients had to have spent many hours and days disputing debts they did not actually owe. As clients were only given a 3-week deadline to repay the debt, some were forced to repay the debt they did not believe they owed because they could not successfully dispute the debt before the deadline. Service delivery was worsened, and this impacted the people's trust in the government organization. Following a probe into the system, the Commonwealth Ombudsman found that the implementation problems could have been mitigated through better project planning and risk management at the onset. This includes more rigorous user testing with customers and service delivery staff, a more incremental rollout, and better communication to staff and stakeholders. The Ombudsman report stated that a key lesson for agencies and policymakers when proposing to roll out large-scale measures which require people to engage in a new way with new digital channels is for agencies to engage with stakeholders and provide resources for manual support during transition periods. This is a key lesson which we can take reference from as new or enhanced public initiatives are launched further to this bill. Thank you.